Hello students, welcome to MJC Learning. Today we are going to learn chapter number 1 of economics, that is Introduction to Micro and Macroeconomics part 4. In earlier part 1, part 2 and part 3 videos you have already learned about microeconomics, and in part 3 video you have learned about macroeconomics, its meaning and its scope. In this video, we will cover features of macroeconomics and importance of macroeconomics. Rest of the things we will do in part 5. Let us see first feature of macroeconomics, that is study of aggregates. Macroeconomics deals with the study of economy as a whole. It is concerned with the aggregate concepts such as national income, general price level, national output, national employment, business cycles, etc. As the name suggests, macro means large or total or aggregates. So, macroeconomics deals with the total of everything, that is not single individual unit or individual firm, but it deals with the aggregate demand, aggregate supply, total employment, national income, etc. So basically macroeconomics is study of aggregates. We learn about nation's economy and not about a single individual. Second feature of macroeconomics is income theory. It studies the concept of national income, its different elements, methods of measurement, deals with aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Macroeconomics helps us to understand country's national income. It studies how national income can be generated, how we can increase national income, what is the measurement to calculate national income, and for that we need to understand aggregate demand and aggregate supply. If a country is having more demand, that is linked with more production, and more production leads to more supply. More supply leads to more employment, and so more income, that is more national income, is generated. So macroeconomics helps us to understand a country's national income. It also explains the causes of fluctuations in the national income that lead to business cycles, that is inflation, deflation. If a country is facing problem of either inflation or deflation, then also it helps us to understand the causes, problems, why this inflation or deflation has happened. This we can understand with the income theory. And income theory can be understood with the help of macroeconomics. Therefore, macroeconomics is also called as income analysis. Third feature of macroeconomics is general equilibrium analysis. This analysis deals with the entire economy in the context of equilibrium. So here in general equilibrium, we understand that there should be equilibrium level, balance in entire country, in entire economies of a country. This approach assumes everything depends on everything else. Unlike your microeconomics where it follows partial equilibrium analysis, partial equilibrium where we assumes or where we think that everything else remains constant. But in general equilibrium analysis, we believe that everything depends on everything. Students, when we understand about a country's economy, every aspect of a country is equally important. If we think about only production, that is not going to be possible. More production because of more demand. More production leads to more supply. More supply leads to more employment level. More employment level leads to more national income. Only one thing, that is, suppose if we say only national income will be generated but there is no employment level in the country, it is not possible. Or else if we just say that there is only aggregate demand and aggregate supply but there is no overall output, Is it possible? It is not possible. So everything depends on everything. In an economy of a country, all variables plays important role, and everything is linked with everything. If a country is facing a problem of inflation, for example, then overall it will affect country's employment, it will lead to poverty. Because of less employment, there will be less national income, less growth of an economy, less development can take place. So, a country's national income is related with everything else. And we expect that general equilibrium, that is a normal equilibrium, balance should happen in the country, and that can be understood with the help of macroeconomics. Next feature of macroeconomics is interdependence. As I said in just earlier point, that macroeconomics deals with general equilibrium analysis, where it says that everything depends on everything else. So all the variables of an economy are interdependent on each other. If one goes up, then everything is affected, or if one variable is not performing well, then also all the variables of an economy will be affected. Let us read interdependence point. It takes account of aggregate economic variables such as income, output, employment, investment, price level, etc. I'll give you one example. Suppose if a house income increases, right? So increase income can affect so many things in your house. You can have so many new things. You can buy your new things. You can buy a car. You can buy a new big house. You can invest more. You can save more. So everything is dependent. Same way, when we think about a wider concept, that is, if we think about a nation, same is applicable. So interdependence, that is, all variables of an economy are dependent on each other. We cannot say that only one can increase and rest will not be affected. Next feature of macroeconomics is lumping method. Lumping means group. Okay. So lumping method is the method of whole economy rather than its part. In macroeconomics, we study about nation as a whole, and we do not study about single individual. Macroanalysis deals with the behavior of aggregates, that is total. That is total values of economic variables related to whole economy. So we considered about all the variables which affect a country's economy and not about a single individual firm. Next, further we continues with same features of macroeconomics. Next is growth models. Macroeconomics studies various factors that contribute to economic growth and development. Now, when we understand a country's growth should happen or development should happen, so different models can be built. That is called as growth models. Models which helps us to understand a country's growth. That is called as growth models. Now, with the help of or with the understanding of macroeconomics, we can find whether a country is growing with the national income, if a country's national income is rising, and if a country's national income is rising, government can plan different growth models, which are useful for a country's development also. One of the growth model which was given by the Professor P.C. Mahalanobis. You can see the picture here, sir, students. So P.C. Mahalanobis, he gave Mahalanobis distance, which is used in heavy industrial area. This Mahalanobis distance, it helps people to calculate distance in industrial area. So this is one of the example of growth model, and this is possible with the help of macroeconomics. Next point, that is general price level. Determination and changes in general price level are studied in macroeconomics. As we understand, there has to be a normal price level, and we can understand whether price levels are changing, like there is any situation of inflation or deflation. That can be understood with the help of macroeconomics. General price level is the average of all prices of goods and services currently being produced in the economy. General price level means common price level, which is prevailing in the country's economy. If a country's production decreases, then what will happen? Less commodities are there. So, prices of that commodities will increase. And if a country is producing beyond required limit, then what will happen? More production is there. Now to sell that more production, the prices of the commodities will decrease. This we can understand, the changes of this can be understood with the help of macroeconomics. And general price level, so all countries think of having normal price level in the country. Next feature is policy oriented. According to Keynes. Now Keynes is one of the economists who has also given macroeconomics, who has played his part in macroeconomics. So according to Keynes, macroeconomics analysis helps in formulating suitable economic policies to promote economic growth, general employment, control inflation, to pull economy out of depression. Policy means government can come out with different policies. Now once we understand that if a country is facing problem of inflation or deflation, or a country's national income is increasing, that is a country is growing, right? So once we understand that, once government understands that, then government can formulate different policies, different ideas, different strategies to develop the country further. And if country is facing any problem, then how to pull economy, like bad economy, country is suffering from bad economy suppose, then government take out the policy to pull that economy from such problem. Then we come to next, importance of macroeconomics. First point is functioning of an economy. It helps us to understand the behavior pattern of aggregate variables in a large and complex economic system. Now this we are going importance of macroeconomics, that how macroeconomics is very much important in countries' overall understanding of overall economy. First point is functioning of an economy. That is, when we talk about aggregate variable, when we talk about it is study of aggregate, means it helps us to understand the overall country's economic behavior. In macroeconomics, as you know, that we are not studying about individual unit. So it helps us to understand overall country's problem, and so that further it helps us to understand growth and development of the country. Next is economic fluctuations. Fluctuations, as I told you before, fluctuations means keep on changing. Macroeconomics helps us to understand the causes of fluctuation in the country's income, output, employment, etc. If a country is suffering a problem of inflation or deflation, then government can come out with different policies, and government can find out some strategies to recover from it, to recover economy from such situation. But how government will understand that? That can be understood with the help of macroeconomics. Because when a government studies that why this situation is happening, that means government is studying all the areas related with the economy, that is aggregate demand of the country, aggregate supply, national income, total employment, total output, total saving, total investment, etc. So economic fluctuations means if any fluctuations, if any changes, if any ups and downs comes in the economy, with the help of macroeconomics, we can understand such problem. Next point is national income. Without a study of national income, it is not possible to formulate correct policy. Income. Let us say your family is getting income. Higher the income, higher will be your standard of living. Lower the income, lower will be standard of living. If you don't have income in your house, can you come out with any policies or any strategies or any solutions of such problem? No. Same way, to improve a country's overall growth and development, a country's national income. Now again we are talking about a country, so we are talking it as a national income and not just income. So when we study about a country's overall growth or development, we need to understand the income, national income of the country. And without the national income, without the understanding of national income, that is, if government find out how much income national income a country is generating, then accordingly government can compare national income with the previous years, and if government feels that no particular year this income generation is less, then government can formulate some policies. Now all this cannot be done without the understanding of national income, and national income we cannot understand without the help of macroeconomics. Next point of importance of macroeconomics is economic development. It helps us to understand the problems of developing countries such as poverty, inequalities, and suggest important steps to achieve economic development. Now here you can see the word developing countries. India is called as developing nation, developing country. There are three types of development. One is developed, underdeveloped countries, one is developing countries, and one is which are developed countries. India comes under developing countries. Developing countries means we are still into that process. We have not yet reached that stage, but we are not even underdeveloped. We are still working on that. We are developing day by day. Right? So economic development. Now economic, as you have learned in chapter in 11th standard, economic growth and economic development. Once economic growth takes place, then only economic development can take place. Development needs money. Right? So when more national income is generated of a country, that means there is more economic growth, and so government can spend more for the development of the nation. Like in our country, we are still facing the problem of unemployment, poverty, inequalities that is between rich and poor, between two castes even. So all these problems, why these problems are happening now? Poverty, why this problem is happening? Because many people are not getting employed, they are not getting job. So still we are facing this problem, and we can come out with the solutions. Government is still framing such different policies. There are different yojanas like Jawahar Rozgar Yojana and other yojanas, other opportunities government is giving to the youth and even other people of the nation to improve country's economic development. Now students, there are other important point also of macroeconomics that we will cover in next video. So in this video basically we have covered all the features and 4 important points of macroeconomics. Rest important points of macroeconomics and also comparison of micro and macroeconomics we will do in next video. Thank you.